I slammed the truck door so hard the side mirror rattled, and in that moment, I knew something was wrong. I wasn't supposed to be home for another 2 days. My flight back from Oregon had been canceled at the last minute because of some freak storm. So instead, I drove all night through the dark Texas highways, just wanting the comfort of my own bed. But the second my tires hit the dirt road that led to my ranch, my home, I saw something that almost made my heart stop. There were balloons, red, blue, yellow, tied to my fence, the white fence I built with my own hands. Cars everywhere, parked across my grass like it was some county fair. And in the dead center of my driveway, a folding table with a cash box, a clipboard, and rows of cheap folding chairs, all facing a makeshift stage built from wooden crates. There were people there, too, neighbors, strangers, all looking like they were waiting for a show. And right at the center, holding a mic, stood a man in a suit. But the real star, standing next to him with her chin high and sunglasses covering half her face, was Karen, the president of our HOA and the single biggest thorn in my side since I'd moved to Amber Ridge. I didn't need to see her name tag or that tower of bleached hair to know who she was. But what made my blood run cold was the huge sign behind her, hanging from my porch, live property auction, today only. I just stood there, boots in the gravel, stunned. This wasn't a joke or a misunderstanding. This was a heist. Karen spotted me before I could take another step. She stiffened, muttered something to the auctioneer, and stormed off the porch toward me like she was about to serve a warrant. "You're not supposed to be here," she hissed, voice so cold it could curdle milk. "Excuse me, this is my ranch," I shot back. She made a show of stepping away, hand on her chest. "Not anymore. You abandoned the property. We tried to reach you. Now it's HOA business, going to auction." My fists clenched. "I've been gone 5 days, Karen. 5. This place isn't even in your damn HOA." She just pulled out her phone and dialed 911 right in front of me, putting on her best damsel in distress voice. "Yes, operator? There's a man here threatening people at our auction. I feel unsafe." She locked eyes with me the whole time. And that's when I heard the sirens getting closer. I realized this wasn't a misunderstanding, it was war. Let me back up a sec. Name's Daniel Carter. I'm 42. I spent 15 years in the Air Force, retired early, and bought this ranch with every dime I saved. 20 acres just outside of Amber Ridge, Texas, where I could live quiet, raise a few cattle, fix up old tractors, and have my coffee in peace. I picked this spot because it was outside HOA jurisdiction. I made sure of it. Hired a lawyer, checked every record. This land was mine, free and clear. But Karen, she had her own plans. She ran the Amber Ridge HOA like her personal fiefdom, handing out violation notices for grass an inch too high or mailboxes that weren't the right shade of beige. She'd shown up at my door the first week I moved in, cookies and clipboard in hand, saying, "Just sign here to acknowledge our HOA rules." I told her, politely, that my ranch wasn't in her HOA. Her smile never quite reached her eyes again. From there, it was a slow campaign. Letters demanding I submit barn repairs for review, pamphlets about the safety of joining the HOA, notices about paint colors. I ignored her, stayed polite, waved when she passed by in her Range Rover. But she kept pushing, even snooped around my chicken coop once, claiming she was checking for zoning violations. I asked her to leave. She muttered about neighborhood standards and stomped off. Still, I never thought she'd go this far. A week ago, I had to rush out to Oregon to help my sister after surgery. Locked up everything, asked Mark, my ranch hand, to check on things. Nothing seemed off. No calls, no warnings, no emails. Yet here I was, back early, staring at a full-blown auction on my porch. I tried to reason with the auctioneer, a sweaty, nervous man who just kept saying, "I have the paperwork, sir. I was hired to sell a foreclosed property." I asked to see it, but he stammered and told me to talk to the HOA. Before I could get another word out, 2 police cruisers rolled up, lights flashing across my fence. Karen greeted them like old friends. "That man is trespassing," she said, pointing at me. The officers stepped over. "Sir, we need you to step aside." I handed them my ID. "This is my ranch. My name's on the deed. She's got no right to be here." The taller officer hesitated, checked his clipboard. "Karen told us the owner abandoned the ranch." "That's a lie," I said, voice rising. "I was gone less than a week." Karen piped up, her voice quivering for effect. He's been aggressive, officer. Shouting, trying to stop a legal auction. The crowd started to buzz, some people looking at me, others looking at Karen like they weren't sure who to believe. And then, twist of fate, Mark came running up from the back pasture, waving a manila envelope. "Found this in the office," he yelled. Inside was a fake power of attorney, my name, my signature, but neither of them mine. Karen had planned this from the start. I handed it to the police. "Still think I'm the criminal?" One officer took it, eyebrows knitting together. Before anyone could answer, the sheriff himself rolled up. Sheriff Doyle, big man, slow, thoughtful, stepped out, took one look, and said, "What in God's name is going on?" I told him everything, and when he turned to Karen, her cool broke for the first time. "This ranch isn't in your HOA," Doyle said, "and reclamation isn't your job. You didn't go through the courthouse. You went through a microphone." He took the forged document. "Where'd you get this?" Karen fell silent. Doyle ordered everyone off my property and had Karen held for questioning. The crowd scattered, the auctioneer packed up, pretending he'd never been there. Just as I thought I could breathe again, a loud crash came from behind the house. The barn was on fire. Mark saw two kids running away. Doyle held me back as we watched flames lick up the side of the roof. Neighbors helped. Fire trucks came, but the barn was toast. "You got more explaining to do, Karen," Doyle said as the fire chief wrapped up his report. That night, I was rattled. I sat on my porch with a coffee, staring at the empty field where the barn used to be. That's when I saw a light flicker in the barn office. No one was supposed to be there. I grabbed my flashlight and went to check, and found Kyle, the temp I'd hired a month back to sort files. He was at my desk, folder labeled Land Transfer Strategy, open. I confronted him, and he confessed. Karen had roped him in, promised him money and a permanent job if he helped fake documents. He even had proof, voice memos, emails. I made him save everything to a drive for Sheriff Doyle. Next morning, 2 black SUVs rolled up. HOA lawyers, now trying to settle and offer me a buyout to avoid trouble. I sent them packing. Then Mark brought a flyer, emergency HOA meeting to vote on claiming my ranch. Karen might have been in jail, but her husband Tom was out stapling flyers to fences. That night, I walked into the HOA meeting, binder of proof in hand. Tom tried to shut me down, but the room demanded I speak. I showed maps, deeds, video proof of the auction, the forged papers, the police report. By the end, the board was in chaos, members yelling at Tom, demanding votes be canceled, even trying to remove him from the board. But as Mark and I left, my phone buzzed. "Doyle again. Karen made bail. She's headed your way." Moments later, Karen herself pulled up in her black Range Rover, wild-eyed, waving a new folder. "This is an injunction. I just filed it. The ranch is under HOA review until court decides." Right then, sheriff's cruisers arrived. Doyle stepped out, told her to step back, showed her the proof from Kyle's files, voice memos, emails, everything. Karen went ballistic, screaming as she was arrested, again, this time with no bail. I thought it was over. But the next day, I got an email. Someone filed a new claim, not on the ranch, but on the easement road leading to it. If they won, my land would be landlocked. I went straight to the county office, handed over deeds, tax receipts, and 30-year-old maps. Called my lawyer, Angela, who moved fast, subpoenas, injunctions, evidence. And when a camera caught Ben, the HOA treasurer, planting fake HOA property signs at my gate, Doyle swooped in. Ben got arrested, too. But it wasn't over. One night, my tool shed was set on fire. Sell or burn spray painted on the walls. Security cameras caught Ben lighting the blaze. Angela filed restraining orders and lawsuits. The HOA board started to crack. Resignations, newspaper stories, Karen still in jail, Ben denied bail, Tom caught shredding documents on a neighbor's security camera. When the court hearing finally came, the judge didn't mince words, called it a blatant abuse of power. My ranch, my road, everything, was officially mine. The fake auction declared criminal fraud. Karen and her cronies, facing years in jail. Neighbors apologized. Some brought pies, some helped rebuild the barn. For the first time in weeks, I felt like Amber Ridge was actually a community, not a battlefield. I put up a new sign at the gate. Private ranch, not HOA property. We don't sell. We don't run. Maybe this is the part where I tell you it's all behind me. But if there's anything I learned, It's that when people want power bad enough, they'll burn the world to get it. So here's my question to you. Who was really in the right? Is it ever justified to bend the law for the greater good of the community? Or does justice always mean standing your ground, no matter what it costs? Let me know what you think down below, because in a place like Amber Ridge, the line between right and wrong can get mighty blurry. And as always, if you've ever had to stand up to a bully, HOA or otherwise, I'd love to hear your story. Drop a comment, share your thoughts, and let's talk about what justice really means.